The ocean tried to take her. She felt it pulling, relentless, cold, dragging her under with the kind of certainty that doesn't leave room for hope. Her lungs burned, her legs cramped. The shore was too far away. She was going to die. And then, arms around her waist, strong, sure, pulling her up, breaking the surface, dragging her to shore like she weighed nothing. She coughed water, gasped air, looked up at the man who'd saved her life, and thought, delirious from oxygen deprivation, he looks like a prince. She had no idea he was a billionaire CEO. Had no idea he'd been watching her from his beach house for 20 minutes, debating whether to introduce himself. Had no idea that the moment he saw her go under, nothing else in the world mattered except getting to her. This is the story of a woman the ocean tried to claim, and the man who refused to let it. Isla Hart wasn't supposed to be there. The beach was private, gated, accessible only to the residents of the exclusive homes that lined the cliff. But there was a gap in the fence at the north end, a local secret, and Isla had been coming here since she was a kid, back when she and her dad would sneak through and spend afternoons building sandcastles and collecting shells. Before he died, before everything changed. Now she came here when the world felt too loud, when her small apartment and her demanding job and her mother's medical bills pressed down on her chest until she couldn't breathe. She came here to remember what peace felt like. It was 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. The beach was empty, just her and the ocean and the setting sun turning everything gold. She should have checked the tide schedule, should have noticed the warning signs posted at the access point, should have remembered that this beach had riptides, dangerous ones. But she was tired, distracted, thinking about the hospital bills and the rent increase and how she was going to make it all work. So she waded in, just to her waist, just to feel the water. And the ocean decided it wanted more. It happened fast. One moment she was standing. The next, the sand disappeared from under her feet. The current pulled, strong, sideways, out. She tried to swim parallel to shore. She knew the rule. Knew you weren't supposed to fight a riptide directly, but her legs were already tired from a double shift, and the water was so cold, and the current was so strong. She went under, came up gasping, went under again. Her lungs burned. Her arms felt like lead. The shore was getting farther away. This is it, she thought. This is how I die. And then she felt it, arms around her waist, pulling. She fought on instinct. Drowning people do, but whoever had her was stronger. They broke the surface. Stop fighting me. A man's voice, commanding. I've got you. Stop fighting. She went limp. Let him pull her, guide her. Use the current instead of fighting it. And then sand under her feet. Shallow water. Shore. He half carried, half dragged her onto the beach. She collapsed, coughing, gasping. Alive, she looked up at him through salt-stung eyes. Tall, soaking wet, dark hair plastered to his forehead, white shirt clinging to a body that was clearly familiar with a gym. In his eyes, gray-blue, like the ocean on a cloudy day. Looking at her with an intensity that made her forget she'd almost drowned. Are you okay? He asked. His voice was different now, not commanding, gentle, concerned. She coughed more water. I think so. Can you breathe? Any chest pain? No. I'm fine. She sat up, immediately regretted it. Her head spun. His hand steadied her, warm on her shoulder despite being soaked. Easy. Don't move too fast. You saved my life. You were drowning. I did what anyone would do. Most people wouldn't have jumped in, he smiled. Just slightly. I'm not most people. She looked at him, really looked, at the expensive watch still on his wrist, at the house behind him on the cliff, glass and steel, and the kind of architecture that appeared in magazines. You live here, she said. I do. I'm sorry. I know this is private property. I shouldn't have. You almost died and you're apologizing for trespassing. His smile widened. Interesting priorities. I come here sometimes. There's a gap in the fence, and she stopped. I'm making this worse. You're making this entertaining. He stood, offered his hand. Can you stand? She took it. His grip was firm, steady. He pulled her up like she weighed nothing. I'm Isla, she said. Sebastian. No last name, like it wasn't important. She'd figure out later why it sounded familiar. He insisted on walking her home. It's 2 miles, she protested. And you're soaking wet. So are you. And you nearly drowned. I'm not letting you walk home alone. I'm fine, Isla. He looked at her. Please, let me make sure you get home safely. It's the least I can do. You saved my life. You don't owe me anything. Then let me do it because I want to. Something in his tone stopped her protests. They walked in silence for a while. The sun was setting properly now, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Thank you, she said finally, for what you did. Her voice cracked. I was really scared. I know. His voice was soft. You're safe now. How did you know what to do? With the riptide. I grew up on the water. Learned to swim before I could walk. He smiled. Also had Coast Guard training when I was younger. Thought I'd join. Life took a different direction. What direction? He was quiet for a moment. Business. That's vague. It's boring. She laughed. Somehow, I doubt that. They reached her building. Small, old. The kind that looked shabby next to the mansions on the beach. This is me, she said. He looked at the building. At her. Like he was calculating something. Are you okay? He asked. Really okay? You should probably see a doctor. I can't afford. She stopped. I'm fine. Really. Just tired. Something shifted in his expression. If you need anything. I don't. She smiled. Tried to mean it. Thank you. For everything. He hesitated. Like he wanted to say something else. Then, the gap in the fence. At the north end of the beach. Yeah. I'm not going to fix it. She blinked. What? You said you come there when you need peace. I'm not going to take that away from you. His eyes held hers. But please, check the tide schedule, and don't go in the water alone. I okayed, promise me. I promise. He nodded, stepped back, started to leave. Sebastian. He turned. Will I see you again? He smiled. The beach is 2 miles long. I think we'll run into each other. And he walked away, disappearing into the dusk, leaving Isla standing there, dripping wet, wondering if she'd imagined the entire thing. She Googled him the next morning, just the first name and the beach location. The results came up immediately. Sebastian Cole, CEO, Cole Industries, net worth $4.20 billion. She stared at her phone. The man who'd saved her life wasn't just rich. He was one of the richest men in the country. Tech empire, multiple companies. Philanthropist, on the cover of Forbes 3 times, and he'd jumped into the ocean to save her without hesitation, without telling her who he was. She scrolled through photos, him at galas and conferences, shaking hands with presidents, and then a photo from 2 years ago, him at a beach cleanup event, wearing the same watch she'd seen yesterday, looking exactly like the man who'd pulled her from the water and walked her home like it was the most normal thing in the world. Not most people, he'd said. No, he really wasn't. She went back to the beach 3 days later, not to swim, just to walk, to think, to maybe see if he was there. He was standing on his deck, looking at the ocean. Coffee in hand, he saw her, lifted his hand in greeting. She waved back. And then he was walking down the stairs from his house, crossing the beach, coming toward her. You came back, he said. You said I could. I did. He smiled. How are you feeling? Better. Less like I got hit by a truck. That's the ocean for you. Unforgiving teacher. They stood there, the morning sun warm on their faces, The ocean gentle today, deceptive. I Googled you, she admitted. His smile faded slightly. And I found out you're kind of a big deal. I'm just a person who runs a company, a $4 billion company. The number doesn't make me different than I was 3 days ago, doesn't it? She looked at him. You could have told me who you were. Would it have changed anything? I don't know. Maybe. Exactly. He stepped closer. I didn't want you to see me as Sebastian Cole, CEO. I wanted you to just see me. Why? Because no one does anymore. His voice was quiet. Everyone sees the company, the money, the influence. No one just sees. He stopped. A guy who likes the ocean and saves drowning trespassers. She laughed. Is that how you see yourself? When I'm with you? Yeah. The words hung between them. Sebastian. Have dinner with me, he said suddenly. Tonight, tomorrow, whenever you're free. I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? Because you're you, and I'm. She gestured at herself, at her thrift store clothes, and her tired face, and her everything. I'm nobody. You're the woman I pulled from the ocean. He moved closer. You're the woman who apologized for trespassing while coughing up seawater. You're the woman who promised me she'd check the tide schedule. His hand lifted, almost touched her face, dropped. You're not nobody, Isla. You're the most real person I've met in years. You don't even know me. Then let me. His eyes searched hers. Please. She should say no. Should remember all the reasons this was a terrible idea. Billionaire CEO. Different worlds. Different lives. But all she could think about was how he'd jumped into the ocean without hesitation. How he'd looked at her like she mattered. How he'd walked her home and promised not to fix the fence and asked her to stay safe like he actually cared. Okay? She whispered. Yeah. Dinner. Tomorrow. His smile was devastating. I'll pick you up at 7. He showed up at 6:55 p.m. Not in a limo. Not in some ostentatious car. In a vintage Land Rover that had clearly seen some miles. This is your car? She asked, climbing in. One of them. The others are too. He made a face. Much. This one feels real. You're really big on real, aren't you? I am with you. He took her to a restaurant on the water. Small, local. The kind of place tourists never found. Not because it was exclusive, but because it didn't advertise. Best seafood in the state, he said. I come here when I want to think. They sat outside. The ocean visible beyond the pier. Sunset painting everything gold. Can I ask you something? She said. Anything. Why did you jump in? Really? He was quiet for a moment. Because I saw you go under, and nothing else mattered. You could have called the Coast Guard, and waited 15 minutes while you drowned. No. His jaw tightened. I wasn't letting that happen. You didn't even know me. Didn't matter. It should have. Why? He looked at her. You think your life is worth less because we were strangers. I think most people would have calculated the risk. I'm not most people. He reached across the table, took her hand. And your life is worth everything. Stranger or not. Her throat burned. How do you do that? Do what? Say things like that. Like you mean them. Because I do mean them. She looked at their joined hands. At his thumb brushing across her knuckles. Tell me about you, he said. Not the drowning part. You. So she did. Told him about her dad. About losing him to cancer when she was 16. About her mom's declining health. About working 2 jobs to pay for assisted living and medical bills. About feeling like she was drowning long before the ocean tried to claim her. He listened. Really listened. Asked questions. Remembered details. Didn't offer to fix anything. Didn't try to throw money at her problems. Just heard her. You're stronger than you know, he said finally. I don't feel strong. Strength isn't about feeling it. It's about doing what needs to be done anyway. He squeezed her hand. You're doing that every day. So are you? Am I? You built a company from nothing. You employ thousands of people. She stopped. You jumped into the ocean to save a stranger. That wasn't strength. That was instinct. Same thing, he smiled. Maybe you're right. They talked for hours. Long after dinner was finished. Long after the sun set and the stars came out. About everything and nothing. His childhood sailing. Her love of art. His complicated relationship with success. Her dreams she'd put on hold. And somewhere in those hours, something shifted. From strangers to something else. Something that felt dangerous and inevitable and completely right. They saw each other every day. Not dates exactly. Just time together. Morning walks on the beach. Coffee at her favorite cafe. Him showing up at her second job, a bookstore, and browsing for an hour just to be near her. Her friends thought she was insane. He's a billionaire, Isla. What does he want with you? She didn't have an answer. Didn't know what to say except that when he looked at her, she felt seen, really seen. Not as a struggling daughter, or an overworked employee, or someone barely keeping her head above water. Just her. The night everything changed. 3 weeks after the rescue, he took her back to the beach. His beach. Set up a fire pit. Brought blankets, wine, food from the restaurant where they'd had their first dinner. What's all this? She asked. A picnic? Is that allowed? On your private beach? I think you make the rules. Then yes, it's allowed. He spread a blanket, gestured for her to sit. I wanted to bring you here, where it started, where I almost died, where I found you. She sat, looked at the ocean. GentleTonight.com. I'm not scared of it anymore, she said. The water? You should be. Healthy fear keeps you safe. You're right, she smiled. But I trust it more now, because I know you'll be there if it tries to take me again. He looked at her. Always. Don't make promises you can't keep. I'm not. He moved closer. Isla, I need to tell you something, okay? I'm falling in love with you. Her breath caught. I know it's fast. I know we're from different worlds. I know there are 1,000 reasons this is complicated. His hand found hers. But from the moment I pulled you from that water, from the moment you looked at me and I saw you really, saw you, I knew. Knew what? That I'd spend the rest of my life making sure nothing ever hurt you again. Tears burned her eyes. Sebastian. You don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. He cupped her face. You're not drowning anymore. Not alone. Not while I'm here. She kissed him. Pulled him down to her and kissed him like he was oxygen and she was still underwater. He kissed her back like she was the only thing keeping him anchored to earth. When they broke apart, they were both breathing hard. I love you too, she whispered. I think I have since you refused to let me apologize for trespassing. He laughed, pulled her close, and they sat there by the fire, watching the ocean that had tried to take her, the ocean that had brought them together. Part 6. The obstacle. It couldn't be that simple. It never was. 2 months in, reality crashed down. Her mother's condition worsened. The medical bills doubled. The assisted living facility wanted payment up front, or they'd have to move her. Isla sat in her apartment and did the math. It didn't work. No matter how she arranged it, how many extra shifts she picked up, it didn't work. She'd have to move her mom to a state facility. The thought made her physically ill. Sebastian found out through her friend, the one who worked at the bookstore and had a big mouth, and genuinely thought she was helping. He showed up at Isla's apartment at 10 p.m. She opened the door, saw his face. Who told you? Does it matter? Yes, Isla. I don't want your money. She stepped back. If that's why you're here, I'm here because the woman I love is drowning and I can help. I'm not drowning. Yes, you are. He moved inside, closed the door. And I'm not going to stand on the shore and watch. This isn't the ocean, Sebastian. You can't just jump in and fix it, can't I? No, this is my life, my problem, her voice cracked, my failure. It's not failure to need help. It is when you can't afford it. He looked at her for a long moment, then pulled out his phone, showed her something, a bank transfer, already completed, to the assisted living facility, full year paid, in advance. She stared at the screen. What did you do? What I should have done the moment I found out. Sebastian, I can't accept this. It's already done, then undo it. No. This is too much. It's nothing. He set down his phone. Isla, listen to me. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. And none of it matters. None of it means anything except what I can do with it. He stepped closer. Let me do this, please. Let me make sure your mother is safe, that you can breathe, that you're not drowning in bills and fear, and I don't want to be a charity case. You're not. His hands cupped her face. You're the woman I love. The woman who tried to apologize while coughing up seawater. The woman who works 2 jobs and still finds time to walk on the beach and look at sunsets like they're magic. Tears streamed down her face. You saved my life, he continued softly. Maybe not from the ocean, but from a life that felt empty, hollow. You made me remember what it feels like to care about something more than quarterly earnings. That's not the same, isn't it? He kissed her forehead. You pulled me from my own kind of drowning. Let me return the favor, she broke. Let him hold her while she cried, while all the fear and stress and exhaustion of the last 2 years poured out, and he just held her. Didn't try to fix her. Didn't offer platitudes. Just held her while she fell apart. I love you, she whispered finally. I love you too, but I can't let you just pay for everything. Then we'll figure it out. Together. He pulled back to look at her. Set up a payment plan. Let you contribute what you can. Whatever makes you feel like this is partnership, not charity. You'd do that. I'd do anything if it means you stay. They compromised. He paid the bulk of her mother's care. She contributed what she could and refused to let him pay for anything else. It was messy, complicated, required constant negotiation. It was also real. She met his family old money, intimidating, suspicious of her at first, until they saw how he looked at her. He met her mother who cried and called him an angel and embarrassed Isla thoroughly. They fought, made up, fought again, learned each other. The hard parts. The parts that didn't fit perfectly, and fell more in love with every imperfect moment. 1 year after the rescue, he took her back to the beach. Their beach. Sunset, fire pit, blankets, wine, exactly like their first picnic. Dacia vu, she said, smiling. Intentional. He poured wine, handed her a glass. I wanted to come back here, where everything started, where you saved my life, where you saved mine. She looked at him. I didn't. You did? He set down his glass. I was drowning, Isla, in success and loneliness, and a life that looked perfect from the outside and felt empty inside. He took her hand, and then you almost drowned, and I pulled you out. And when you looked at me, really looked at me, felt like I could breathe for the first time in years. Sebastian. He slid off the blanket, onto one knee. Her breath stopped. I jumped into the ocean for you once, he said quietly, and I'd do it again. Every day, for the rest of my life. He pulled out a small box. Isla Hart, will you marry me? She was crying. Yes. You didn't let me finish. I don't care. Yes. She pulled him up, kissed him. Yes, yes, yes. He laughed, slid the ring on her finger. The ocean tried to take you, he whispered against her mouth. But you're mine now, and I'm never letting go. Never, never. She kissed him again, and the ocean gentle tonight, forgiving whispered against the shore, like it approved, like it knew what it had done, bringing them together, in the most terrifying, beautiful way possible. The ocean tried to take her, it pulled her under, with relentless hands, dragged her away from shore, filled her lungs with salt and terror. It wanted her, but Sebastian wanted her more. He jumped in without thinking, without calculating risk or considering consequences. Just saw her drowning and decided, not on my watch. Some people call that heroic. He called it instinct. The instinct to save something precious. Even if he didn't know yet just how precious she'd become, Isla was drowning long before the ocean tried to claim her. Drowning in bills, in responsibility, in the weight of keeping everyone else afloat while slowly sinking herself. She came to that beach to breathe and almost stopped breathing forever. But he pulled her up, out of the water, out of the life that was crushing her, out of the belief that she had to do everything alone. He showed her what it meant to be saved, not just from the ocean, but from loneliness, from the kind of drowning that happens slowly, in silent desperation, in lives that look fine from the outside. And she saved him right back, from a life that had everything except what mattered, from success that felt empty, from rooms full of people where he felt completely alone. She showed him what real looked like, what it felt like to be seen, known, loved for who he was, not what he could provide. The most disarming thing in the world is not charm, it is being truly, carefully, patiently seen. She thought she was just trespassing on a private beach. She had no idea she was walking into the rest of her life. Pause. They got married on that beach, by the way, where he pulled her from the water, where she promised to check the tide schedule, where everything began. Small ceremony, just family, the ocean as their witness. And when he kissed her, she tasted salt and future and forever. The ocean tried to take her, but a prince dove in and brought her home. If this story found you at the right moment, share it with someone who needed to hear it today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your opinion is important to us. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.